brain candy.
Brain candy. Candy for your brain.
Episode 834. Welcome. So Sarah and I were just looking at our set. We're getting Sarah settled, and I saw that sound bowl in your background that I had given you. And it reminded me, I feel like there should be a rule that, like, when you break up with someone, or, you know, you have a breakup, that you get all the gifts that I give to the partner. So,
Absolutely.
like, I feel like you should have gotten the kimchi ceramic maker.
Suze, don't even get me started. I almost stole it.
That's not a theft.
I should have. Fuck. I have regrets.
I'm so sure, like, he would do anything.
Right.
What's he going to do, sue you for an $80, like, ceramic bowl or whatever?
The one thing that I know, like, I did a really good job of getting all of my stuff. I didn't get the kimchi thing because, you know.
Right.
But he has my hand mixer. And I was like, I'm going to have to just buy a new hand mixer on. They're only $20, the one I had, but it wasn't worth it to me.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I had to do that.
Yeah, I don't like all that.
Yeah. I hate playing that game.
Do you have anything of any of these men?
Nope,
like, it
not a
feels like,
single fucking thing.
So nothing you have in your possession is like, oh, that's actually his.
No. Nothing.
How does that
because
happen?
I can't bring myself to do that in the moment when I
You're
have
in
to
a
say
hurry.
whose is this. I say his, and then I don't because I can't have any guilt. I can't have any like feeling of because in my heart I know, and then I'll be stealing.
But I mean,
But their hearts
accidental. 'Cause
right?
I'm sure he didn't
not
steal
even
your
the
hand
accidental
mixer.
stuff. No, anything that was accidentally here, I already gave back. But
Wow.
no, I have a pretty
Big
good
mistake.
understanding of every single item that I have.
Well, right, but like when he uses that hand mixer, you're telling me that like he'll be like, "Yep, this is mine."
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
'Cause why
I wonder
aren't
when
they-
he'll use a hand mixer.
Okay, I'm mad about it.
Yeah, it's okay.
At any rate,
I'll be fine. I got a stand mixer, so I'm good.
okay, that's good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Oh,
Okay.
I didn't realize I didn't turn my swamp cooler off. Is it too loud? Can you hear it?
Swamp cooler.
I don't know. Isn't that what they
What's
call those like
that?
portable ACs? You don't know that term?
No, I love it.
How on earth does WT Susie not know the term swamp cooler?
What does it refer to specifically?
Like those portable AC units, or like the AC units.
Because we probably didn't afford those either. We just had a fan.
Like the AC units that you put swamp cooler. Yeah.
That's like, I think that's like middle class.
Well, okay. Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we didn't even have that kind of money. We didn't have swamp cooler money.
Yeah, they're like an evaporative cooler. Yeah, that's what I have. It's like, that's what they call them. Swamp coolers.
Evaporative.
Yeah. I don't know how it works,
Well,
but it makes it cooler.
I don't know if I can hear it.
Okay.
But if you can hear it, everybody just know that we have needs.
Background noise is just the AC blowing. I turned it off for the last episode, but I wasn't thinking for this one. Now you guys are hearing the behind the scenes.
Machinations of Brain Candy Podcast.
Yeah. So that's how I'm doing. I'm fine. You know,
you are fine. All right.
no probs.
Okay, good. Well, I'm fine too. So let's dive in. I wish I had some big story. I feel like I did have one. You know when like something stupid happens, then you're like, oh, well, I got to talk about this on Brain Candy.
Sure do.
It'll come to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always waiting for something like that. I'm like, oh gosh, somebody asked me to smile. Now I got at least 15 minutes of material for the podcast.
Totally.
Yeah, but no, everybody's
Yeah.
been good. Also, I've just been keeping to myself lately, so there's been no opportunity. But I'm going to camp soon, so maybe I'll come back with a whole bunch of stories. I did have to do, yesterday I did 4 hours of training for camp, which is a lot of doing, basically like mandated reporter trainings and sexual assault stuff and workplace, like all that kind of.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The trainings.
I know that you probably are like, that's so important, Susie. And I think it isn't, because it's not like, oh, okay, problem solved. Like, now that they sat there for 4 fucking hours, everybody's on the up and up. All the predators are like, you just...
I do love a test. And so they always test you at the end.
Test?
And I always get 100, and I'm always very proud.
Well, I'm proud of you too.
Thanks.
Well, I did have a physical.
Oh, how'd that go?
Well, it did make me laugh. It was good, but...
Was it the part where they hit your knee and then your foot kicks? That always makes me laugh too.
No, they don't do it.
What? They're supposed to do that.
Really? That's like part of it?
I don't know.
Usually?
I feel like that should be part of testing reflexes.
Maybe she was cutting corners. I don't know, but...
I don't know. Okay, maybe it's different. What are you getting tested over there? How was it?
Because
what
I'm
made you laugh?
On the doorstep of being 45 years of age.
Yeah. Young.
Which is how you know you're old. When you start saying young.
Oh, God. Is that? Yeah. You're like, yeah, I just
young.
ate. Or when you start saying things like aging like a fine wine. And we're like, oh, I thought
Lincoln's
I was just
not
freshly bottled.
Lincoln's not saying like I'm 12 years young.
Right.
So at 45, then you got to get the old colonoscopy, which I've been really excited to get.
Yeah, I bet.
Because like I love a good clean colon.
Yes.
And,
right. And we're all about knowing about our health. We say knowledge is power.
Yeah, but now they give you the option. Okay, here, what would you choose? And it's a real, like, I didn't know what to do. You can choose Cologuard, which is you take a dump in a box and ship it to this place, and then they see if there's any weird cancer cells or whatever.
Okay.
If it's clear, then you don't have to do anything for 3 years. If there's a problem, then you still have to get the colonoscopy. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh.
Then, or you can do the colonoscopy if that's a huge pain in the butt, literally.
Yeah.
And if that's clear, you get the free pass for 10 years.
Oof.
But I had follow-up questions. I was like,
yeah, I had
need
follow-up
data.
questions too. Exactly.
Right.
What are we not detecting in either?
She argued that the box poop is very effective in and it's that they don't get a lot of false flags. In 9 years, she only had like 15 problem people, and only one of them had cancer.
Okay.
And then the other ones, it's like a higher percentage of like, oh, there's something, and then it's just some dumb polyp that's fine.
Yeah.
High risk, high reward. I don't know.
Can they see things in the colonoscopy that you wouldn't be able to detect with that Cologuard or whatever?
Not that I know of, but I think
then
there's
put in a box,
some,
girl.
That's what I said. I was like, I am gonna go with the box.
Yeah, because that feels like the newer technology. Mm-hmm. I feel like we've shared on this podcast like some kid who for his like high school project created like a
like they can
strip
just smell
that you
cancer.
right like
under your arm or something.
So let's use those kind of things. If what we're looking for is to detect cancer, then let's use the least invasive means to detect that cancer.
Yeah, because everybody knows that colonoscopy prep is not pleasant.
Right.
Well, I'll let you know how it goes, of course.
But if there are other things that if there are other things that they could find that they couldn't get with that test, like a tear or some other kind of like something in there, then I would do that one. If there are things that they can't find,
I think I'll do that one next time. In 3 years.
Shit in a box for now.
Because they lowered the age that you have to start doing this. So she was like, since they lowered it, you could do a couple Cologuards and then do the full Monty.
Yeah.
You're welcome, everyone.
There you go.
Hey.
Listen, we just talk about what is going on in our lives, and it used to be other things, and
it used to be sexy stuff, and now it's we're golden girls over here.
Yeah.
And as such, we like to pour little mixers in our water and get some help with our whole scenario.
Suze,
you love them.
I love them.
Me too.
Okay. This is one of those things where I'm like, I don't think people are going to believe me if I come on and talk about this.
I always think that.
Because I didn't believe it. Mm-hmm. I was like so fucking skeptical.
Yeah, like placebo style or something.
A supplement is going to help with menopause support.
Okay.
But Mixhers reached out to me like to me.
That's so
and
nice.
We're like, no, this really will like this is for people with menopause. We've formulated this for this. Give it a shot. And I have noticed such a reduction in symptoms.
Wow.
I feel way more balanced. And the biggest thing is less brain fog.
That's fantastic, Sarah.
I am, in fact, I have 2 boxes of the PMS support to give away at our...
I have the menopause. I'm giving it to my sister, right?
Yeah.
We can swap, right?
Definitely.
Because what are your needs? You know, they have like pre and postnatal. They have libido. They have all kinds of ones that are for whatever you need.
And here I was, as I'm pouring the growth stuff and the mixing stuff into my plants' water to give my plants the supplements they need. Here I am thinking, oh, I don't need a supplement.
What good could it do?
And what could it do? And then, oh my gosh, now I am a plant that is thriving. And I'm very happy.
That's awesome.
But don't take my word for it. Try it.
Yeah,
I really want people to try, especially, I mean, maybe I'd be saying this if it were the PMS support too, but especially if you're dealing with menopause, just pre-menopause, get it.
I know. I feel the same way.
I'm re-upping. I'm out. And I'm using our code, like using my own hard-earned money to buy this. Good. And I'm never not, I need it I take 2 a day. It's the best.
That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that.
They're going to be like, okay, blah, blah, blah. This is a 10-minute commercial now. Sorry.
Now's the time to try Mixhers. Head to mixhers.com/braincandy. Use promo code braincandy at checkout for an additional 10% off your order. Mixhers, that's HERS at the end, rarely gives discounts. So 10% off is the best offer you'll find. Remember to use promo code braincandy for an additional 10% off. What a great thing. I'm so happy that worked for you.
Yeah. I'm thrilled. I love our sponsors. They're all so good.
I suspect, given everything that's going on in this election year and the assassination attempt, which happened just 15 minutes up the road from me, by the way, Butler, PA, that people are probably feeling really stressed out and upset and feeling like, like the sky is falling, doom and gloom. Mm-hmm. And I understand, because I have those times too, and you feel like, regardless, like liberal, conservative, I bet you both sides feel that same like sense. Yeah. But like I read stories and I watch things and I always am reminded to be thankful because we are very lucky to live here. And
absolutely.
I just want to, remind people like, sure, I love complaining. That's like my favorite hobby.
Right.
But let's not forget, like, everything's relative. Yeah. I watched a documentary about North Korea. I mean, if anything will make you grateful, it is seeing the people trying to get out of North Korea and what they're willing to do for the freedom that we enjoy. Mm-hmm. It really resets your kind of panic.
Yeah. I think. On 4th of July, Dax Shepard, I think it was Kristen Bell who posted it, but Dax Shepard was giving a lecture to his kids about why this is a great country to live in. And I was like, by the end of it, I'm like, fuck yeah.
You're like,
USA.
Red, white,
I was
and blue.
like, yeah. I got it. Yeah. And he was talking about how he grew up in a double wide and just everything that was available to him that he like wouldn't be if it were in another country. And it was just like a nice reminder, nice little reset.
Yeah. We're not perfect. We got all kinds of problems and all that. But I am still thankful. And to me, I was just like, I bet you a lot of people are having those same feelings. Yeah. And let's not get hopeless or whatever.
Right.
What
was that documentary?
I think it was on, I wish I could remember now, maybe Max. Okay. And it was following people escaping, and they had like GoPros attached, and you went through like the jungle and the water and everything with them, and children and elderly people, and like some people didn't make it, and some people got caught and then went to the whatever they call them there. Yeah. And what that means, and just how if you don't have freedom that you'll do anything to get. The weirdest part though, this family was trying to escape because they had been added to a list because their family members had defected. So they were going to be sent to these work camps anyway, and so they felt like they had to leave. But they still believed that North Korea was amazing and that Kim Jong-un was the most amazing human being on earth. So watching them, they're trying to get out, but yet they still think he is amazing. I've never seen that before. And then once they made it out, and then they get sent to South Korea to be like, reintroduced or whatever to society. After a few months, they were like, oh,
God.
But they didn't know.
That would be really hard. What do they call that when you leave a cult?
Deprogramming.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that. And like reintegration. Jesus.
Yeah. So anyway, it was really good. And I think it was on Max. And it was just like you thought, okay, I'm really thankful for what we have. Okay, that's enough of my speech. Okay. I also saw this video on YouTube, but it was posted by the LA Times. And it was this interview with Charles Manson's biological son. I forget his name, but he never met Charles or anything, but he is his son, and he grew up knowing that, but he had a totally normal upbringing because his biological mother was also, cuckoo crazy, and she was incarcerated eventually. And so he was raised by these really nice grandparents in freaking like Wisconsin or something.
Yeah, okay.
So, and he doesn't have Manson in his name, so like people didn't really know, and he just lived a normal life. What struck me about it was, even though he's never met Charles, he called him Charlie Manson, he had great affection. He spoke with great affection about him.
Okay.
And was, what's the word? Unconvinced about the evilness of his dad, right? Because he didn't actually kill the people. Right. He was the leader of this group, but he didn't do it. And he was sort of like, I'm not buying that it was that. But in every other way, he was like the coolest, down-to-earth, really nice guy. Okay. So I wanted to share that with you because I knew you would be able to expand on like what causes that.
The brain does what it needs to do to protect itself.
Yeah.
From anything that it can see as a threat to its own well-being. Mm-hmm. And that may even be understanding and belief about a parent. So we have to look at what it would mean for his psyche if he accepted. Okay, then I think there's a part of us that feels a connection to our parents no matter what.
Okay, let me stop you, because what about the fact that I'm sure and definitely me, you hear all the time people talking shit about their parents and disowning them and cutting them off and they're toxic and I'm done with them. Why would you be a little bit more protective about one you've never even met?
Because all he's going on is what he's created in his own mind for him. He doesn't have any actual, and I bet if he met him, and which now isn't he dead? Charles Manson died.
He's dead. Yeah.
So if he were to have met him, I guarantee it would change things, and it would. But I think
because it would demystify it.
Yeah. I feel like this is similar to how people will put a parent on a pedestal, even if that parent wasn't. They'll put the better of the two parents on a pedestal, and think about if Charlie never disciplined him, never did any of the maybe negative things that the most loving parents need to do. But I can see that his brain may need to put his biological father on some sort of pedestal and make him better in his mind than he is in reality, because we tend to do that with people anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, my mind even will highlight my dad's best qualities, and it just does that. It wants real bad, like, because I think it's just human nature to want connection from parents.
Well, and he did have a lot of great traits. He wrote music, and he was clearly charismatic.
Right. And it is so hard for us to hold somebody in our hearts in different places. Like, to accept those good parts and the bad, and like have that in there. It's so we have to kind of filter out sometimes what we don't want. And I mean, I understand this. I feel like this is in a way why, you know, my grandparents will stand by, like, my dad never did anything and is a good man and all that. But like, just
I can see it more
evidence.
for a child. I can see it more because you knew them when they were innocent and just lovely, and then whatever. But I will give him the fact that Charles Manson and the Manson family, you know, not real family, but boy, is that a weird one.
Oh my God. It might be one of the strangest of all time.
Yeah.
I think it might go down because you know how you always say things today, you couldn't do that today? How a lot of the movie plots, you couldn't even, movie plots from the 80s and 90s wouldn't hold up because of cell phones and things like that. It feels like all of the circumstance, everything that was necessary for that to happen, it could never occur today.
Right. And I feel like the people that are still alive that participated have been unable to provide an explanation that makes sense to a typical brain and a typical person in the world, where you just like, you imagine I could never be persuaded to kill someone or do something I didn't want to do. So it just doesn't make sense. Right. And so that's part of why I think people remain very fascinated by it.
Yeah. What we think we want and what we actually want, it's just like, our brain is weird, man.
Something I consider part of my family are my Caraway cookware and bakeware items.
Yes.
It's just like, they're actually part of my body. It's like my left hand, my right.
It's the only pan I use.
I have such affection for this company. They have created, I don't know how, miracles.
Yeah.
I don't know what goes on, but they're non-stick and they're non-toxic, and you can pick any color from the collection. It looks amazing.
Look gorgeous.
And boy, do they do the job.
Yep.
I don't know what else to tell you guys, but...
You've seen the videos. You've seen her dump that banana bread right out.
Slipping
just
and
slips
sliding.
right out. Can't even keep it in the pan. You don't have to do that thing where you dump it, turn it upside down, and then half of it sticks, and then it breaks, and then it falls. Oh, I hate that. It's like... They would have no problems on any of those baking shows if they just used Caraway
right,
pans.
That's the secret weapon. Nothing sticks. It is incredible. The frying pans are essential as far as I'm concerned.
Have to have that.
So we did the math. Their internet famous cookware set comes with saute pan, fry pan, Dutch oven, and saucepan, plus lids and storage. It's the ultimate kitchen setup. Plus we did the math, and the cookware set will save you $150 versus buying the items individually. Plus, if you visit carawayhome.com/braincandy, you can take an additional 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners, so visit carawayhome.com/braincandy or use code braincandy at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern. Okay, moving on. That's on YouTube, LA Times. If anyone watched the interview, he is just charming and likable as heck.
Okay.
And very handsome.
Interesting.
Okay. Maybe I'm just in one today, but we got to talk about this, and I want to know your thoughts. I'm like staring down a fly. I have these gigantic flies that are making me nuts. I'm going to kill them.
Get them, Suze. Success?
It's dead.
it is done.
Because those big ones are dumb, too.
Yeah, they are dumb.
Okay. In Korea, I think we've talked about on the show, you know how there's a significant portion of the population, young people, who won't leave their rooms?
Yes.
Right. They have a name for it, but I don't know what it is in Korean. And these are people who refuse to participate in society, are entirely reliant on usually their parents, and I guess most people would call it depressed, but it's so extreme because they're just like, sometimes they won't even talk to their own family members. And it's kind of an epidemic. I think they said 5% of young people, which is a lot of people.
Okay.
So the government wants to deal with this problem, and so they funded this, I don't know what you want to call it, but this thing where they've created these rooms where the only connection to the outside world is like a feeding hole in the door, like solitary confinement.
Yeah.
Where the parents of these people go and stay for a few weeks to experience complete isolation in the hope to gain insight and empathy and compassion for their family member.
Okay.
To me, it sounds like the dumbest thing I ever heard, but I would love to know your thoughts.
My thoughts are that what the fuck is going on here? And we need to recognize that somehow those kids or young people's needs are still being met. So we have to, like, I just don't think that, I do think that compassion and understanding that feeling of loneliness can be really helpful for the parents, but then I think it takes more action than that. I think at the times when I felt very depressed and very like I want to isolate, what has been the most helpful is when people are like, come on, let's go for a walk, let's get outside, and they kind of push me to do something, you know? And if these people were in, say, like a inpatient treatment, they would make them do stuff. You have to go to group, you have to go for a walk. It's like they're reluctant to do it, but then they find when, like, it's like a object in motion stays in motion kind of thing. I think more than, yes, we have to start with empathy and compassion, but I also think that some different structure and ways of living are important to include, because I think that if isolating feels like isolating is a coping strategy, an unhealthy way to cope, and we don't want to allow somebody to just stay in an unhealthy coping mechanism, like stay stuck in that. You know, we want to give new coping strategies. And so I think that's what needs to happen, is some new coping skills that other than just encouraging more isolation.
Well, and I totally feel for anyone who thinks that is a better way of life, where you just cut yourself off and go silent. But that doesn't mean that empathy or compassion equals enabling or just sort of, that's the end of the story and that's how you're going to live and we're all going to just accept it. Because it does feel like, hello, that's what tough love means. It's where you kind of make someone uncomfortable because the end is going to be better. Like, that's what parenting is. Yeah. My son doesn't want to tie his shoes. He would love it if I did that for him every day.
And so much of the everyday stuff we have to do is crappy, but like...
I don't want to brush my teeth. I would love it if my mom came over here every day and did it for me. But
so it seems more like there's, like, I think that this is a symptom of a bigger problem.
yes,
obviously.
Sarah. Yes.
This is
societal.
Yes, this is societal. Like, and I wonder if there's something about, I know that identity is tied into this, that maybe there's this expectation that they're going to be able to provide for a family and have a house of their own. And the current economic situation as it is does not allow for that.
Yeah.
And so, and you
They
can't
give
even
up.
say that. There's,
And they feel like a failure.
yes.
Right.
And so this needs to be like they all need therapists, and they all need to be working on like their life worth living goal. And we need to start of like, what motivates you, how to find that intrinsic motivation. This,
I think we're a ways away from that.
and yeah, it's going to be like systemic change.
Yeah, because this was a BBC article describing it, and they only like sort of peppered in the broader societal issues and how like just the way Korean culture works and the way parents operate, and maybe how when you put everything in a pot, this has been very bad for the current generation. Because if you have income inequality growing,
Absolutely.
and then all, parents who don't believe in like verbal expressions of love, things like that, then
Right. So then you have no value, no thing to like, you don't get any of those things to confirm your worth.
Right. And so then Sarah and I were just talking, we were together about the show Hoarders and how often the people that become hoarders will claim that they are perfectionists. And you look at their house and they're pooping into a bucket next to their like pile of newspapers, and you think that makes no sense. But sometimes if you can't get what you think is what you're supposed to get, you just give up.
Right.
And it sounds like what these people are doing.
Yes. I mean, this is a very small example of that, but I was like, I need to get I have a skylight in my house, and I need, for recording in the studio, need to block that skylight. Mm-hmm. And I have the option of getting a skylight installed, which will be like $500 or $600, whatever it takes,
like
however long.
Like an
electric like skylight blind that comes down. Like somebody comes, they measure it, blah, 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 blah. And that would take care of it. I would just have to do it once. It would be done. And then there's would I need it done right now? And then there's but I don't want to pay that. And there were so many options. Mm-hmm. Well, you can get this kind of light. Well, you don't need to do that. You can get a screen, blah, 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 blah. I became paralyzed in the making a decision, and I ended up doing nothing. And I just did nothing instead.
But it's so relatable. We all do this in some ways. Yeah.
And then I told myself, I was like, you need a good night's sleep and you need to do something. It doesn't matter what you do. Just do something.
Yeah.
And you have to accept that it might not be perfect right now, but it took like a team in my mind coaching me through to not just be paralyzed with the decision of should I get a light or not get a light? What?
Right. So to me, it feels a bit odd that Korea government is like, I know, we're going to put solitary confinement cells, and they call it the happiness factory, which...
Oh, no. No.
Maybe think about that, because that's not a good name. And then they think this is somehow going to solve the problem, and this is a much bigger societal, cultural issue, clearly.
Yeah. But this is what happens when we don't want to look at the actual cause. This is like let's teach teachers how to use guns.
Right.
No,
we just need more guns.
Right. Like we're solving these things with more of the problem.
I'll tell you what's not a problem, and that is my finances and keeping track of them thanks to Rocket Money.
That's right. Thank you, Rocket Money.
Rocket Money is a godsend. I'm obsessed with it. It's my daily little therapeutic, empowering activity.
Yep, and it checks. I mean, I know I share all the time how much money I saved, but I was real happy because last year I discovered with Rocket Money a once a year charge from some company that's like an antivirus software or whatever that I signed up for years ago that had been charging me once a year. I've not been using the service. I don't even have the same computer. And so I canceled through Rocket Money last year.
That's awesome.
And so the date for the charge just passed, and Rocket Money was like, okay, this is coming up, but we already canceled it. And so I was like so nervous, like, did it actually get canceled? Yeah. Success. I didn't have to do anything.
That's awesome.
Rocket Money canceled it for me. I did it a year ago, and it was successful. It went through, and I didn't have to call and fight PayPal or anything.
Too. I don't want to have to do that.
It was like $50.
That's great. I love it. I've saved hundreds and hundreds of dollars through them negotiating lower rates on insurance and various subscriptions. And I mean, I just like knowing when things come up. I've had tons of things where I'm like, Adam, what is this? What's this charge? And like, if I weren't using Rocket Money, I wouldn't have even noticed it probably. They're amazing. They will negotiate these things. They will cancel your unwanted subscriptions. They have over 5 million users. They've saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's features. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/braincandy. That's rocketmoney.com/braincandy, rocketmoney.com/braincandy. Sarah, you kind of talked about that last episode about the gamification stuff.
Yes.
Where a lot of this stuff, it's like, here's a free trial. And then you're like, yeah, I'm beating the system. I'm getting like a month free. And then you forget to cancel.
Right.
That's
they take advantage of that. So now we're gamifying. They're gamifying.
Yeah.
And now I got Rocket Money. So there you go.
Take that. Okay. Moving on. I think we both agree, like, the Happiness Factory is not maybe doing the best.
They could have called it something like Empathy Emporium.
Right. That's such a better name, Empathy Emporium.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah, you're right. You're right about that. Happiness Factory. Let's they're totally overpromising here.
Right. Right. I feel like if I were one of the children, I would be insulted by that too. Like,
yeah. Come on now. Okay. Next up. Okay. This is another debate, and then I'll move on from debates. Okay. So I think this was also BBC. I read that one of the singers of the Four Tops, had gone to the hospital for a cardiac issue, an emergency type thing. And I want to pull it up because I want to get the facts straight. But he was having all these issues with his heart and trouble breathing, that kind of thing, like heart attacks type stuff. And then once he was admitted, he was like, for some reason, he was worried about stalkers, like Four Tops superfans or something. Okay. And so he was telling the hospital staff, like, just so you know, like, I'm in the Four Tops, and like, who knows, like, these stalkers might be coming or something. And then they thought he was cuckoo crazy.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they were like, oh, okay. And then they treated him like a mental patient.
Oh my God.
And let me see.
This is literally why I have been, I in therapy, when I was doing the show, I never said, I feel like people are watching me. Because I asked in grad school, I raised my hand. We were talking about like psychiatric disorders, whatever. And I said, okay, like hypothetically, if Justin Bieber came to you in therapy and said, I feel kind of paranoid that people are looking at me, we're going to take him seriously because people are looking at him probably, right? And they were like, yeah, we would approach that different. And I was like, I don't know how to bring this up in my own therapy without sounding like I'm crazy.
Right. Okay, because if you're not recognizable, okay.
Right. And then you sound delusional, like you sound like, if I said, yeah, people, like, I was followed with cameras for a while, and people sometimes, like...
Yeah, I'm being watched.
I'm like,
being listened to.
They're, like, looking at me when I'm at restaurants, and I can feel people's gaze. They're going to be like,
Okay, Sarah.
Okay.
Okay, so what they did, they took him off oxygen. They put him in a straitjacket.
Stop.
Mm-hmm. And
what year was this?
2023.
Stop it right fucking now. Susie, I thought that you were telling me old gossip.
No, he's still in the band. He played at the Grammys. Like just the other, recently they played it.
Okay.
So they put him in a straitjacket. And
Justin Timberlake is lucky he didn't end up in a straitjacket after saying he was like who he is when he got arrested.
Here is my beef, though. I'm totally sympathetic, and I bet he felt awful, and they should give him money. Like, he should get a great settlement or whatever, because he's suing them. But here's the thing. There are a lot of bands. I've learned this because I'm always looking up bands, like, where are they now? What's this singer doing? What's that bass player doing? I always want to know. And there's certain bands, like the band Chicago. If you look on their Wikipedia,
oh my God,
there's been, like, 50 members of Chicago. Yeah. And the Four Tops happens to be a band like that, or a group. And he didn't become a member until recently. He's only 53. So, like, if you know that the Four Tops were popular in the 60s, and this guy wasn't born until the 60s.
Right. Well, please, I thought this was old gossip. I thought he was going in there in the 60s, and this is how he was getting treated.
Right. Then I'm not justifying it, but I'm saying, like, I can see why they'd be skeptical.
Yeah.
And only after he showed them a video of him performing at the Grammys were they whoops-a-doo. And then this is the worst part. This is one of the worst parts. They offered him a $25 gift card as an apology.
To
what? The hospital?
If anybody offers you a gift card for it right away, then you know you can sue. So there's like that. Yep.
That is so true.
You have grounds for a case.
Right. And his wife was there, and she was telling them, too, like, no, he's in the Four Tops. Dude. And they still
maybe this is one of those situations where it's a zebra instead of horses.
Yeah. Well, and racism. Because I bet you if it were like a 50-year-old white guy being like, I'm in Chicago.
Guaranteed. 100%.
Yeah, don't you think so?
It's always racism. Yeah.
Because, like, I really do feel like if some guy was like, I'm the trombonist for Chicago.
Yeah.
They would be like, oh, that's so impressive. But it's like a black group.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can you imagine how mad you'd be?
I can't.
Okay.
But he should definitely sue.
But also, I don't think you have stalkers. Like, there's just no way this guy in the hospital is genuinely at risk of, like, Four Top super fans.
Maybe there is somebody. Maybe he's got somebody who's like, I don't know. We don't know. You don't know.
You're right. I don't know. And
like, I just would take somebody's word. Like, if somebody said that, I would. Oh God, it's hard.
It is hard.
It is. That's a tough call to make. I don't know what
the right answer is, but maybe you could just go, okay, and then Google it out in the hall.
Right. Just do that.
I mean, it really is that simple. That could have been avoided.
Yeah, his name. It's very easy.
It's okay to be skeptical, but maybe Google
don't
first
throw him in a straitjacket before.
Straitjacket!
Right. That seems like we went to an extreme right there.
Okay. I agree. Next up. You were probably too young for this, but do you recall or are you aware at all of the scandal involving the Duke lacrosse team from like 2006?
Yeah, this sounds familiar.
Okay. Let me refresh. So the context is, of course, Duke is like the Harvard of the South. You know, it's this practically Ivy League, but not, really fancy, like white privilegey type institution. And lacrosse is known as that, especially back then, sort of like white, rich boy, type of sport. And this team happened to be the best in the country. And so they were walking around campus like hot shit. Yeah. And we also know that when you put 40 college fucking weirdos together, I would not want to be around 40 lacrosse Duke players of any kind, any of them.
Right.
In a room by myself.
Right.
Well, these guys had to stay on campus during spring break because they were practicing for stuff. And so they were like the only people on campus. They were bored and they were going to have a party. And they hired these 2 strippers to come and dance for them and paid $800. And they came and these ladies danced for 5 minutes. But one of them, who happened to be African American, was high or something on some sort of thing that made her pass out and like fall down. And she was like not able to strip.
Right.
You know, you need some dexterity and you got to be limber. And she wasn't up for the task. And they were pissed because they paid $800 and she danced for 5 minutes and she was about to leave and whatever. And according to her, she ended up, after a series of events that I won't go into because it's all convoluted and crazy, she was admitted to the hospital. It was sort of like a psychiatric type of deal. And then she said that she had been raped and assaulted by 3 of the team members in a bathroom. And at the time, this was an absolute firestorm. I mean, I will never forget it. And I was appalled. And it was everything like encapsulating America. It was like man versus woman, black versus white, poor versus rich, class versus less class, education versus not. It was all those things in one story. And everybody kind of thought these guys are monsters, like kind of like the Brock Turner thing.
Yeah.
That's what it was like, where it was like people protesting and calls to fire the coach and all this stuff. In fact, if I remember correctly, Rolling Stone did a huge, basically like hit piece about the team and the whole culture.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was a big deal because
my brother was playing lacrosse at the time, and that's what stood out in my mind.
And do you remember, like, were you like me thinking that these were 100%. Monsters? Yeah. And then over time, a couple months, we learn their DNA wasn't on this lady. And then over time, we realized through various pieces of evidence, they had been falsely accused. Oof. So I watched a 30 for 30 about it, which is my favorite sports documentary series on the ESPN series. And it was just like, I mean, it was just really disturbing to watch because I don't actually think we've learned anything, because I would probably still have that reaction if this happened today. I'd think, I would be scared to be in a room with those guys. They probably did.
Right.
And how, like, the media sort of fed into it without any evidence. And these guys' lives were, like, absolutely ruined. And they had done nothing. There was no assault. There was no nothing. Yeah. What they had done was have really poor judgment for having a party, hiring strippers. And after they realized she wasn't going to do 2 hours, she was going to do 5 minutes and take their $800, they used the N-word. And people heard it. People heard it outside, like, that weren't at the party. And so that's gross.
Right.
But it is not
oh my God.
assault, and it is not something you get a life sentence for.
Right. Oh my God.
I just could not. I was like, it refreshed my memory about the whole thing.
Yeah.
And how, I guess, sort of just even thinking about what I was saying earlier about politics and how volatile it is right now, and everybody's so mad, and it feels like, as Biden said, like the temperature is too high. We need to lower the temperature of things. That felt the same.
Yeah, and it's so hard because it's usually the opposite, where, and I hate to give stories that are the false, like, accusations, like, attention, because, like, I think it's statistic is like more people file false insurance claims than falsely report sexual assaults, but we think it happens all the time.
Well, they said this in the film. They said it is very rare for someone to be accused of a crime they didn't commit. You know, we hear about those stories a lot, so you might think it's pretty common.
Right, it's what we hear.
Pretty rare.
So we hear about the
exceptions,
big headlines, and then it looks like a 1-for-1 or a,
right. And even like the stupid like Nancy Grace type stuff, like
right.
What was it? Casey Anthony.
Yeah,
like those things where it's like those are unusual. Yeah. Where it's like, I don't know what happened. Did she? Didn't she? Who done it? But typically, it's like they did it. Yeah. Everyone saw it.
Right.
All that. I mean, most cases are like that.
Oh, that's really a tough
it was
one.
Just fascinating to watch. Probably particularly because we're in this very high temperature political moment.
I feel sorry for those boys.
I feel sorry for them and their freaking families, because obviously I feel I'm the mom in this story
right
now, because my son plays lacrosse, and I was like,
oh, yeah.
They were describing what they felt and how like the district attorney was so adamant that it was true,
right?
That, and everyone was saying like, you boys know who did it, and none of you are telling, and that is disgusting. Like they were condemning them,
and then they're walking around the community like.
Well, the parents were like, they said they would go to their sons and be like,
right,
listen, like I would do, like you have
just
got to tell me,
right,
right?
Of course you would,
yeah. But how they, how like a mug, or what do you call it, a lineup, where they pick like who did it. Yeah. It's supposed to be like where there's the guy that did it, and then like a bunch of bozos that they pull from wherever. They gave her the 40 members of the team. And just said who did it. She couldn't get it wrong. Fair.
Right. Oh.
You pick any 3, and they're on the team, and they were at the party.
Oh, jeez.
Stuff like that, where it's like...
Yeah, you can't do that. That's not how you do a lineup.
Well, but the district attorney was running for office. He was running for re-election.
Oh, so he needed to do this as
and he's in Durham, which is a 40% black community. And he wanted to support this...
Right.
What he thought was a victim, or what he claimed was a victim. Anyway, it was totally fascinating, and all of those components of like...
Oh, that's heavy on my heart.
I know. And it's old. It is old. This is old gossip, if you want to call it that. But it just, watching it, I thought, there's nothing new here. This could happen now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But usually,
right.
Whatever. Okay. Jeez. Let's change the temperature in this room and talk about my Thrive Cosmetics. I mean, what's a transition from that? Nothing, but just go with it, people, because we look fabulous.
That's right. Shout out to Thrive for keeping the skin looking good.
Shout out to Thrive Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. That's why I was able to go, you know how I said I'm false lash sober?
I know.
These are my real lashes, and I'm able to do it with confidence because of Thrive now.
Yeah, and I think they're probably just as long looking when you curl those.
That's what Lincoln said. He said to me a couple weeks ago, he goes, are those your lashes? And I was like, yeah. Like he didn't know, and I was
From the mouths of babes. Okay, there you go. That's all you need. That's what else?
I was moved.
Yeah, I would be too.
They now have that Empower Matte Precision Lipstick Crayon. Check those out, people, because I've tried all the mattes. I used to tell this to Sarah, because you know how she'll wear those like weird, like black ones in the spooky season. And I'm like, I don't know how she stands it, because they feel like concrete on your lips. These are the answer. They are long lasting, but they do not feel dry and flaky and gross. Yes. They last like 12 hours, waterproof, sweatproof, beautiful. Pink, darks, lights, whatever you like. They're all named after ladies. We love it. All the shades are great. Refresh your everyday look with Thrive Cosmetics Beauty that gives back. Right now you can get an exclusive 10% off your first order. ThriveCosmetics.com/braincandy. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/braincandy for 10% off your first order. And don't forget, all our codes are on our website. If you have any trouble with the codes, you just let me know. I'm on the case.
Yes, she's good.
And if you tell me that you use one, I'm going to like give you a big smooch because it's what keeps
Susie's
us
handing out the kisses.
being able to do this. And I'm so glad we get to do this show. All right, Sarah.
All right, Susan.
Let's talk about dance.
Dance. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very important.
This was in Eon magazine. It was about why humans dance because it like kind of makes no sense, like evolutionarily speaking. And yet it's something babies do before they walk, talk, or understand the idea of I. So like
it is so, and animals do it.
Yeah,
and
some animals do it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it's so innate that we learn it before some of what we considered like the most fundamental acts of being
I think
human.
it stimulates the vagus nerve.
Oh, yeah. What is this vagus nerve again?
It's like your emotional
All the feels.
nervous system, yes. And there are certain sounds and actions, movements that stimulate that. And I think it might be, there's so much we still don't know about its effects and benefits and all that. But I think that we must have this biological need to keep that like balanced or something.
Yeah,
The same way dogs shake. You know how dogs do that shake thing?
No.
You know when you like pet
Like
a
if
dog,
they're
they get up
wet.
and but like dogs, if you like hug a dog afterwards, or you pet a dog afterwards, it'll shake, like it's shaking off all the energy. Like it just like,
No.
yeah, watch. Next time you pet a dog, watch what it does, right? It'll do like a shake.
And you think that's related?
I just feel like it's like a movement, like a realigning the energy of your body.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, you might be right. We kind of don't know. And this article was saying that we all kind of know the fun of it and the power of it because you know how like religion tries to stifle it, and anything religion is trying to stifle, you might want to like take a closer look at because there's usually a lot of power in it.
Yes.
And so they were saying that there's like two schools of thought. Okay, let me find the first one. The first one is entertainment, you know, what we feel now. Like it's entertaining, it's good exercise, artistic expression, or like a personal motivation where, you know, it just feels good and you like it.
Yeah.
And then it's desirable but not necessary for like life. But then the second school they classified as more of a community minded, so it can create social bonds and it doesn't require you to be related, like there's no bloodline necessary. You can connect with people through it regardless, and eventually you can replace that with other things like language and morality and religion.
Yeah.
And then they say the first theory struggles to explain why humans choose to dance at all because it's just sort of like a bonus. And then the second part struggles to explain why we continue to dance. Like if it's replaced with language, and why are we still dancing later? And so they were theorizing like other possible reasons why we do it. So they were saying,
okay,
go ahead. No.
This is also making me think, have you seen, I was looking at, trying to look up what I think it's just called synchronization phenomenon. And it's when a system eventually starts to synchronize and things will naturally do this. Like you can take metronomes, and if you put them on an unstable surface and you set them all going off at different times, real quick, they will all naturally sync up. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how this is connected to this, but it feels like it is, where it feels like there's something in us that naturally wants to sync up with I don't know, whatever's around us. And dancing does that. Mm-hmm. We're like syncing up with the people.
Okay. Yeah. that makes as much sense as anything else.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like, there's something to that.
They were saying that, I'm sure that's a component, that sort of commonality.
Yeah.
But they were, see if you can make sense of this. It says dancing can seem as a means of participating in the rhythm of bodily becoming. So, like, their argument is, you know how, like, if a chimpanzee or something is born, most animals are born and then they just start walking around.
Right.
And they're kind of, like, ready to roll. But human beings, they often call the first 3 months the fourth trimester because those fucking blobs can't do anything.
They can't do jack shit. Right. That's what happens with the bigger brain.
Up. Right. And so because human beings are born lifeless, essentially, that they have this part of their brain that has more mirror neurons.
Yes.
And they can watch and replicate and learn.
Yes.
And that the movement is how they're becoming a human being. And so like babies dance, like little babies dance and move and groove and love music usually.
Yeah.
And they think that this has to do with those mirror neurons.
Okay, I could see that. And I also can see that learning how to move, dance incorporates so many different kinds of movements of your body that are very useful and functional in other ways, that it could just be like a getting everything aligned and coming online. Like this moves with this goes with this. I can see that.
Yeah, they're saying that this is a uniquely human thing or very rare thing among the animal kingdom where you can observe, mirror, and then adopt points of view and empathize.
I love it.
And the dance is the embodiment of that and why it's so important.
I feel like dancing, sound, all of this is stuff that we're right now. I mean, we always knew how important it was, but now we're really seeing the science behind it. There's a study that's been floating around Instagram and online recently that compares the clinically important benefit of different interventions on depression. And they used dance, walking, cognitive behavioral therapy, yoga, exercise plus an SSRI medication, aerobic exercise plus therapy, strength, relaxation, mixed aerobic exercises, cycling, SSRIs on their own, and just talking therapy alone. Dancing was number one across the board. Not just better, like, we're talking like significantly. It's at the very top of the list. I'll put up the chart if you can see the video. But dancing, oh my gosh, where'd it go? Dancing is way far over.
Oh, wow.
And
big
shows
difference.
Clinically important
What was number
benefit.
2, but like way
Number
far.
2 was walking or jogging.
Like how people sync up when they walk, too.
Yep,
like you said,
and the movement, oh my God, I get goosebumps. And the movement, the bipedal movement stimulates the same thing that EMDR does for therapy, which is those two hemispheres of the brain and getting everything to process and balance. And I read something that adds to that walking thing where they showed the most improvement in cognitive benefits and repair when you walk and talk to somebody. So you need to go on a walk with a friend.
Oh, that's what you said you want to do for your therapy clients.
Yes.
Yeah.
Number 1. So the only thing else that's better than that if I just dance with my clients. And that will be harder to prove to insurance.
It's harder to dance and talk.
Yeah, harder.
That's the only trouble.
Yeah, but we can walk and talk. And that is, so yeah, I see that dancing has magical powers and it's so good for your body. Like, especially women, like hip stuff, we got to get those hips open and move in. And
see, Richard Simmons was right.
Yeah.
You got to sweat to the oldies, baby.
Absolutely. We got to be dancing.
Calling out around. He was like real big on Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. And probably the Four Tops.
I was going to say, are you sure that, yeah.
But you know how I always say, like, music is talking to God. It is.
It is.
It's magic,
It is.
and I don't know the details. I'm no expert, but I know that it's magical, and most people experience that.
Yeah. Just gotta
And
dance.
dance, fun time.
And you don't have to be good at just dance. Just, like.
Well, that you can get good too. Like, I
Yes.
think most people, when they talk about like white people can't dance or whatever, but a lot of that is cultural. If it's not a currency in your culture, then you don't
Right.
do it and you don't learn how to do it. But if, in other cultures, it
Right.
is very much a currency and is valued.
Right.
And so you learn and you get
Yeah.
good at it. I don't think it's like innate.
Yeah, right. You can learn it. Same with singing. It's a muscle. You can train it.
Yeah. I mean, you're never going to be Fred Astaire or something, but
Right. Right.
I feel like don't worry about it if you suck,
Yeah.
because just have fun. It's
Just
so
have fun.
fun.
Who cares? Right.
Yeah. So anyway, dance, it's magical.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening and always using our codes and being so nice to us and supporting us. We
We
love
love
you.
that. 5-star reviews. It's the best. We read them every day.
We do. We love them. We get sad when they are mean.
Don't leave those then.
Don't leave those.
Yeah.
But if anybody that gets to this part of the episode, they're not going to leave them.
Right. Exactly. That's I'm like, these guys are leaving us a 5-star review. Thank you so much. I love you guys.
We love you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.